That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, which will be available on Amazon Prime April 30th, 2021. Of course, it was a big deal Paramount film that, due to COVID-19, will be premiering on the streaming service. It's directed by Stefano Sollima, of course, as the title would indicate, based on the 1993 novel by Tom Clancy. And notably, Taylor Sheridan, alongside Will Staples, is the one who adapted this novel, which in the 90s was supposed to have been a vehicle set to star Keanu Reeves at one point and just never got off the ground.
Has Stefano done other films?
Yes, he is known for a television series called Gomorrah from 2014 to 2016, a film called Subura, which got a lot of attention, and also the sequel to Sicario, which was Sicario Day of the Soldado, which I actually really liked, from 2018. Taylor Sheridan wrote both of those Sicario films.
I'm going to try to explain the plot. So, some U.S. Navy SEALs are deployed to Aleppo, which I'm told is in Syria.
Yes.
And they're there to rescue someone.
A CIA operative that's been held hostage.
And in the process, they end up killing someone they shouldn't have.
Notably, Michael B. Jordan is leading the SEALs. He's the senior chief, playing John Kelly, and he is under the impression that the CIA operative they are rescuing, which the intel is received from Robert Ritter, played by Jamie Bell. It's the Syrian military that's responsible, but in the rescue mission they kill an ex-Russian operative, which sets off a huge ripple effect because of the relationship between the U.S. and Russia.
All right. So when this Navy SEAL unit completes their tour of duty, they go back home and they all get plucked off. All of them are killed, and John Kelly is the last one. And he narrowly escapes death.
And this timeline is 3 months after this.
3 months after. John Kelly narrowly escapes death, but his wife, who's 8 months pregnant, is killed.
Pam, played by Lauren Landon.
London.
Sorry.
Little Wayne's baby mama. She's more than that. I shouldn't have said that. So there's a lieutenant who is...
Lieutenant Commander Karen Greer, played by Jodie Turner-Smith.
She funnels some information to John Kelly, letting him know who's responsible. So John Kelly goes and kills the person responsible. He
kills the Russian official who was responsible for issuing these men passports, because I think 3 of them are killed at his home, and 1 of them gets away. So he's intensely interested in getting that man. So he kills Merab Ninins, who we just saw in The Courier opposite Benedict Cumberbatch. In actually what I thought was a really good sequence, but...
Okay. John Kelly gets put in jail for killing this man.
Very violently, yeah.
Yep. And the head of the CIA, Guy Pearce.
The Secretary of Defense.
The Secretary of Defense, Guy Pearce.
Secretary Thomas Clay, yeah.
He gets John Kelly out and tells him, hey, I have a mission for you. Do you know this person? He says yes. The person is one of the guys who got away from the killing, right?
It kind of goes down like that. But
just quickly.
Not really. Yeah, sure.
And then because Lieutenant...
Commander Karen Greer.
She's like, I don't think he's right for the mission. And then Guy Pearce's character is like, I think he's perfect. So I want you to go out to Russia and catch this person we're looking for. And when you catch him, you come back and then we'll put you back in prison.
To serve time as a felon, yeah.
So we already know some bullshit. This doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So John Kelly goes out to Russia. He is successful. But during that period, we find out that Guy Pearce's character orchestrated all of this. He funneled the information to the lieutenant because he knew she would tell him so that he will kill these people. Basically, Guy Pearce's character is trying to create tension between the U.S. and Russia because he says...
the Soviet Union is the best enemy we've ever had, and sparring gives Americans purpose.
So all of this is because of that.
And that's a very truncated
okay, but this is what I'm doing. So the end of the film is John Kelly catches Guy Pearce's ass and he kills him, but before he kills him, he gets him to confess and records it, and then presents it to the U.S. officials, and then we presume is let off the hook because I'm sure there's a sequel coming.
Sure.
The end.
Basically, yes. In a nutshell, with some things highly glossed over, that is the narrative. Where would you like to begin?
I didn't take any notes because I was not engaged at all. But to be fair, I don't generally like films like this, unless there's a more sort of like intellectual component. Or no, I don't mean that because we all know I'm not that smart. It's
Stop.
more like there's more suspense and like it's more thrilling. But this film felt very sort of like I don't know, like paint by numbers.
Yeah, it made me feel, because from my understanding is it's kind of a bit removed from Tom Clancy's original early 90s novel. Of course, as the Aleppo opening would signify, but there's still something about it that feels very dated, like from a pre-9/11 world, kind of. Tom Clancy, as you know, has written a variety of novels. I am always I can't not think of him now without thinking of that sequence in Can You Ever Forgive Me with Melissa McCarthy, where she's playing Lee Israel, and Tom Clancy is a person at her agent's Christmas party or whatever, and obnoxiously telling people that there's no such thing as writer's block. Highly successful author, probably best known for his series of Jack Ryan novels, beginning with Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, Sum of All Fears, Shadow, what's the one with Chris Pine?
Shadow Boxer?
No, that's Lee Daniels. Shadow Recruit, directed by Kenneth Branagh. There's the TV series with John Krasinski. Tom Clancy everywhere, revived all the time. So this film was, as I said, supposed to star Keanu Reeves. I just recently watched Clear and Present Danger, because that one I'd never seen. And interesting to learn that John Kelly, who becomes John Clark, because this film kind of tells his backstory.
He gets married?
No. They fake his death, and he becomes John Clark. John Clark is played by Willem Dafoe.
Oh, that's right. The end of this film is he fakes his own death, and then we presume he proceeds as a new person.
He does. They give him the new identity of John Clark. And the Robert Ritter character, played by Jamie Bell, is played by Henry Czerny in Clear and Present Danger.
And who's Willem Dafoe?
Willem Dafoe is the Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, okay.
So I was very curious to see what somebody new could do with this, with a little bit of color. So yeah, I was maybe had too high of expectations for it. Taylor Sheridan, I think, is actor turned writer turned director. I think a very strong writer in these
troubling times,
masculine parameters. I think Hell or High Water is his best script to date, which David Mackenzie directed. Okay. But he's also written Sicario, which I'm not so much. I kind of like the sequel better than the original. But if you remember Sicario, the Emily Blunt character is part of a law enforcement agency that's drawn into this weird web across the border, and come to find it's basically she's this a woman of straw, if you will, just there because they need somebody representative from her agency, but she's kept in the dark so they can do their nefarious things, blah, blah, blah. That is very similar to the structure of Without Remorse. And unfortunately, there's very little tension. And Michael B. Jordan, I feel, has little to do. He does just fine. Plenty of shirtless scenes, I guess, for if you're looking for that. It starts off in a way that all these people are being killed, much like the Parallax View, people that were witnesses to this event that have to be silenced. But then it kind of just takes a very straightforward approach without any kind of real anxiety or level of interest. I thought Jodie Turner-Smith playing a...
Okay, she was my only note.
Okay.
Because her acting was like this. Do you not agree?
Yeah, I agree.
She was very flat. I think she was trying to act serious and lieutenant-like, but she seemed like she went to the Tyra Banks School of Acting. I don't know.
Well, you haven't seen Queen and Slim. As much as I've asked you, I would love to hear your thoughts on that film, because I have plenty. Very similar to that. Jamie Bell, I felt, kind of had little to do. He's sold to us as kind of the who we think is the nemesis of John Kelly, but of course it ends up being Senator Clay. I was very distracted by the timeline because it's one of those films that zips us back and forth from DC, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Leipzig, Germany, Murmansk, Russia. And when we see Lauren London's very pregnant belly at the 3 months later, immediately I was looking up, how long is a tour of duty? When did she get pregnant? I think that technically that works out, but I have questions. And what also doesn't make sense is this very violent, fiery scene outside of the Dulles airport is staged. And they let this man go out on what's a vengeance mission, and nobody's questioning how strange that is, even though it's the Secretary of Defense. It's just kind of silly and doesn't make a whole lot of sense in trying to stage this a new hot war between the Russia and the U.S. It just, I don't know, just was never really interesting. Remember, and then there's all kinds of Gigandet or whatever,
Gigandet from Burlesque.
I don't know if that's how you say his last name.
Gigandet?
It's a D, not a G.
Gigandet?
I don't know. We always say his name like that. He has a very small part. He's dispatched very quickly. Like, where have you been and why are you here? Also, Colman Domingo, who's obviously a character actor I like a lot, as Pastor West. He has one speaking scene, and the other scene they give him at the faux funeral for Michael B. Jordan, they're blaring him out. It's like, why you have these people? And then Brett Gelman is Victor Rykov, the Russian operative that the spy that got away, who we learn is really at the same level as John Kelly. I don't know. The dialogue I thought was terrible. Michael B. Jordan has something about I thought I was a pawn going to kill a king, but pawns can never kill a king. Was one of many items of leaden dialogue. And also, do you remember the sequence where after Pam has... Oh, and the names. Like, every time I see a black lady named Karen, I feel bad. But Pam, when Pam dies, and he's reminiscing about, like, making love to her in this pile of autumnal leaves.
Oh, right.
And her body gets pulled away. All I could think of was little white Michelle Williams disappearing as Leonardo DiCaprio clutched at her in Shutter Island and all those sequences.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else that you would like to say about this?
No.
I feel like we could leave Tom Clancy in the 1990s, but...
I'm fine with that.
But here we are. If you're fans of any of these people, of course, I'd say there's something there, some eye candy at least, but I was just generally bored.
Okay, well, you can be done.
Okay.
What would you give this film?
2 out of 5. How about
I would give it 2 out of 5 as well. I do want to mention we now have a podcast. We have 2 episodes up, so please check it out, Fish Jelly.
Mm-hmm.
It is on all platforms that you find podcasts. Mm-hmm. All right, toodaloo.
Bye.